Hey everyone, this is David. Welcome back behind the velvet rope. Let's just get right into it today because we are joined by the one, the only psychic Pandora.
Hello, everyone. I'm so
Hello.
excited to be here.
I am so excited to have you here. Thank you. I've been talking about this, in my discovery of the psychic source and how I'm just so excited and how it's changed my life. And, welcome, Pandora.
Th- Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
I guess like I just want to start by telling everyone about the Psychic Source before we begin. Basically everyone can download the Psychic Source app. It's free to download in Apple and Google Play. And really, it's pretty self-explanatory. The app provides psychic readings via phone, online chat, or like we're doing here, which I prefer, video face to face.
Video.
Yes. And you are one of 250 psychics that they have there.
Very privileged to be a part of the Psychic Source team. Um, it is a rigorous process to get onto the platform. But it's truly amazing. And I get goosebumps thinking about them.
That's what I loved about it, the fact that it is such a rigorous process. Because I was going to mention that because like look, there are naysayers out there and people that are skeptical, but I try to tell people like it really is a very rigorous process to be accepted into the psychic source.
It very much is.
So therefore it's authentic, so to speak, and you're going to get a great reading. And I wanted to say also that, we're going to do a love reading here today, but there are different types of reading. There are psychic mediums that could contact your loved ones. You can have an astrology reading, a career reading, or just general life advice, or there's even pet psychics on there.
That's right. There are so many different talented and gifted people on the line. So it's great to be a part.
I was very torn when they asked me what type of reading I wanted today because, yes, would I like to hear? There are certain loved ones that I would love to hear from, but I
Right.
feel like since this is our first time doing this in front of an audience and this episode will come out in like a week or two, I figured, I don't need to get emotional here today from that aspect. We can get emotional over my love situation, but I figured we would start with a love reading. And I just want to say the psychic source is, which I love, 7 days a week,
Mhm.
24 hours a day. Because we really do have people listening to the show from all over, people in Australia. We have a lot of people in Europe. So it's 24 hours, 7 days a week.
Yep. Always there. Always there when you need us.
How did you, before we start the reading, just about you, like, when did you first realize you had a gift?
So funny. I've known that I've had gifts and abilities since I was very young, like 2 years old. And when I say 2 years old, I can remember being in my crib and astral projecting into my parents' room to go check on them and see what was going on. I can remember being with my brothers and knowing what they were thinking and talking to them, like answering questions that were just in their head. So it's been with me forever. I've just always been able to tap in, but I did go through a period of life where my vision wasn't great, and it was because I needed to tap in, to experience, to kind of go through some pretty traumatic events without the knowledge. So there was a point in time where I was kind of shut off for a while. But those experiences helped me tap in even more as I fully developed them.
I'm always interested when I speak to people because a lot of psychics I've spoken to have discovered things like at a young age. Were you ever scared, confused? Because right, like that's a lot. Even though you didn't
It
tap in until later.
it was such a natural thing for me. I thought everybody else was having the same experiences. But not everybody could see ghosts in the middle of the road, or not everybody could hear the voices. And so a lot of times, the scariest part was how people would respond to me. So my introvertedness went even further, and I didn't want to connect to people because I felt like rejected or judged, or that they felt that I was scary. For me, it was natural. So I didn't think it was scary.
Right. It's
but
the
they
other.
did.
They, they did. Did you just, I mean, right. So you were I imagine, introverted.
Very, very introverted. So I stayed outside of all of the core groups, and a lot of people, there were individuals that knew that I had something going on, and they would come to me with all their questions or advice, or they would just be like, why would they do this, or whatever. And so I would just channel whatever spirit wanted them to hear. And then I would get a response of like, you're so wise, but why don't you use it for yourself? And I was just like, oh, yeah, because I'm a young human and I'm still figuring it out. But now I'm able to channel for myself too. So it's been a nice journey.
Wow. So that's good. You've come into your own.
Hmm. I've
Well,
accepted it.
you've accepted it, and if other people don't, that's not, your
It's not my
issue.
problem anymore.
It's not your issue. Well, I'm excited for my reading. I just want to say before we start, for everyone that, is not ready to actually get a reading, they can still download the Psychic Source app because it is
Mhm.
free to download in Apple and Google Play. And there's free things you can do on there. Like you can get a free tarot card reading. You can do your astrology and your horoscope. You can do your love calculator. All that's free.
All that fun stuff. You can just tap, 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 tap and get it right there. Um, okay, so you ready for your reading?
I
Because
am.
this
And
is the
then
fun part.
I'm gonna give a code at the end for everyone because everyone's gonna get a discount on
Oh, perfect.
if they want to sign up. But yes, I am very excited for my reading.
Perfect. So just a little bit of background real quick. So I have a background in psychology, body work, energy work. I do have some mediumship that will come through in the reading sometimes. It just depends on who's tapping in. Um, I do also I'm working on my PhD in metaphysical sciences. So there's a lot that may come through the reading. And all I ask of anybody that connects with me is to take a big, deep breath, because your breath is your power, and we want truth, authenticity, and connection. So if you would take a big, deep breath with me.
Yes, and I don't want to just because I said I didn't want to hear from someone from the other side. I don't want anyone not to come in. If I agree, like I want like a very organic, natural reading. If that's what
Perfect.
happens, I am very open to it. So,
Perfect.
all
Perfect.
right,
And
so
I've got
go
full goosey. So let's take that big, deep
on.
breath.
Okay.
All right, Spirit, let's get clear and accurate messages for David. All right, Spirit, what do we got going on? So I do use my cards that I made myself. So these are authentic to me. I don't use typical tarot cards unless I'm doing a reading that specifically they want real tarot cards. Okay. So in the love areas, we're gonna get a few more cards here because they're like, give it to him, give it all to him.
Give it
Okay.
to me.
So we have on the board here, King of Swords, which is being thoughtful, intentional, strategic, very air-oriented energy. So air signs are going to be your Geminis, your Libras, and Aquarius. The moon being significant with dreams, illusions, unseen problems, voluntary changes. The moon is also connected to Pisces energy, which is very emotional. So there may be problems with expressing emotions and being too logical about love and connection, trying to make it make sense instead of feeling it. Okay. And then I got taking great care and making decisions, and a little opposition. So like the emotional side and the logical side can kind of butt heads. They don't always match because love doesn't make sense. It doesn't
No.
make sense. So in your energy, we've got journey to getting into the truth. We may have a relocation coming up, or relocation may be essential to your connection. Wheel of Fortune, which is about developing different senses of self-control, turning points, good luck, big karmic cycles of understanding. And then we have the Sun card, which is like literally the most positive card in the deck. And it's also about wanting that joyous outcome, seeing the optimism, having that positive aspect to it. But the downside of the Sun card is you can get physically and emotionally drained when something's out of alignment with you. That is your telltale sign. It's like, oh, I'm just exhausted after talking to that person. They're not for you. They're taking from you, not giving and receiving, right? So it's important to pay attention to those things as you're connecting to other people. Does it make sense?
Yeah.
So of that first little read, was that resonant of you or the person that you're thinking of?
I feel like it was resonant of me. I mean, I am a Gemini.
Okay.
I am a Gemini. Let's start with that. I tend to be extremely, I'm not an expressive person. I am a very happy person. I am
Mm-hmm.
kind, but I am very thoughtful and logical and
Mm-hmm.
like this person doesn't make sense to me. So I'm very in my head and I don't really if I didn't express emotion when I was younger, I certainly don't now. We haven't made the right type of progress in that category. So when
Okay.
you say like non-expressive, I'm like ding ding ding.
Okay. So I have a lot of Geminis in my family. So I understand this like super logical, don't give me the emotions because it doesn't make any sense. I'm not going to make decisions with my emotions. I'm going to make it with my brain because that's my power. But what you miss is really being able to be authentic to your heart center. Your brain has a tendency to take you into patterns and cycles that are normal or comfortable because they make sense. When you lead with your heart, you're able to connect authentically to people and really be able to give and receive that emotional connection that you need. Because if you just try to make sense of it, you're going to be sitting there going like, why does nothing make sense? Like,
Yeah,
I like you, but like, you don't make sense. They don't. Your partner is not going to make sense to you because it's the other perspective that you needed.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
No pun intended, but right.
Right, right.
Yeah.
All right. So let's do this. I want to see what spirit wants to tell you. My intention is love and relationship, but we're going to see what comes out because everything is love and relationship, right? So let's just see what spirit wants to say. All right. There's like a sense of impulsive nature, dancing, growth, patience, and then we have relationship, like committed relationship. You can't be so serious. You like to have fun,
Yes.
but you don't like to have fun here.
Yes.
Here
Yes
has to
and
be
yes.
very rigid. And so you have to let loose of the thoughts to be able to really get that full integration of relationship, right? And you're growing towards it, and it feels like it's something that's back there, like right? But when's the fire going to be lit? Because you keep blowing out the flame. You got a lot your air. So fire comes up, that passion comes in, your heart opens up, and you go, get away from me.
Yes. I do say get away from me. I'm like, oh, I'm good. Just don't worry about it.
Right. Why? Are you scared?
No, I'm not. Listen, I have convinced myself. Well, I mean, I do enjoy my life. I have a great
Yeah.
life. And when you are in your head, it's isn't it much easier when you're in your own head to just keep on keeping on how life is?
Mm-hmm. Doesn't it get a little lonely?
Not lonely, but you
You
feel
want companionship.
sure. I mean, who
Yeah,
doesn't? Who
right,
doesn't?
right. So you see how guarded you are right now and how hard it is for you to say, yeah, I really want
All you have to do is
somebody.
mention the word companionship, and I'm like, sure.
I do. You want somebody to be able to go to brunch with, to go have a drink, to be able to connect with and improve your currently great life, right?
Yeah, sure.
And you're authentic to yourself and you want a partner that is also authentic to themselves. And this is the part that doesn't make sense, right? Is that you have you that's perfectly whole on your own and you're like, I'm good. And then you have this other person that's like, I'm good. And y'all are great for each other, but it doesn't make sense because you're both independent. You're like, why would we mesh? Because it's a complement. It's not an exact duplicate, right? Where you're strong, they will be weak. Where they are weak, you will be strong. So it's a very complementive relationship. And you're growing towards that because a part of you really, really does want that connection. You want somebody to share life with, not somebody that's going to control you, not somebody that's going to abuse you, not somebody that's going to have commitment issues, which, by the way, we need to talk about.
Yes, we need to talk about that. Sure. Yes.
Commitment issues, the reason why they show up in other people in relationships is because we are not being authentic to what we want, right? We self-sacrifice to be able to have a particular connection because it makes sense, but it doesn't feel right. So then it's like, there's that upheaval energy, right? Then you blow it away and you're like, no, I'm good, leave me alone. Okay. So committing to yourself and your journey is about what's authentic to you. What are the qualities of that person that you really love? Are they outgoing? Are they optimistic? Are they bubbly? Are they romantic? Are they more emotional than you? Can you handle emotion if somebody were to give it to you? And a lot of times the Gemini, they want somebody very stable, earth type energy, because if you get air and fire, you don't want any of it. You don't want all that extra spicy. You want stability, right? And think of it like you want your rock so that your kite can be up in the air, floating around and doing whatever you need to do, usually business oriented. Let me get my shit done. So you're looking for your rock, and they're not going to make sense because why? Why do you want to rock? It's boring.
Yes.
You need boring.
I need a little boring, yes. Like I'm a fun person. I like to have fun. But yeah, like you said, the mind takes over. This is probably why I like to have a martini or two when I go out, because
Facts.
that takes you out of your mind. But even when I do, the mind takes over and you're like, okay, this was a great night. It was fun. You go,
Sure.
you're all going on for 7 more hours. I'm going home because the fun is had. We scheduled the fun. It was great. I could stay out. Some nights I stay out all night, but
Yeah.
not most. I'm like, yeah, a little boring. I'm not opposed to.
Yeah. It's a nice little palate cleanser for the spiciness, right? Like, I'm not saying that they're so boring that they're not going to go out, right? Like, you don't need somebody that boring. You need
Right.
somebody that has a good head on their shoulders, that's very patient, kind, open, willing to go do the things, but really enjoys being at home and embracing the life that you're creating, right? And so that's what I see for you, is somebody coming in, they're at first very like, yeah, and you're like, yeah, slow down. And then you kind of just kind of get into a groove with each other, and it's a natural relationship, right? But you have to get out of your head, because you will actively shoo them away. Now they won't just go away forever. They're going to be patient with you. They're going to keep popping up. They're going to keep showing their face, and you're going to keep going away until you get to a point where you're like, okay, yeah, I want it.
That makes a lot of sense and
Yeah.
resonates. Yeah.
It's cute though, because like, here's the thing. I have, like I said, I have Geminis in my family. And what I have witnessed with them, right, whenever it comes to coming to partnership and things like that, is at first it is very much, shoo, get out of my way. Are you adding value to my life? Does it make sense? And of course, those are valuable questions, right? But it took a real deep sense of loss to be able to get them to go like, oh, wait, yeah, I want that. Okay. You don't want to have to go through a deep loss to be able to really get to that core issue, which is you do want partnership, and you have walls around your heart. And those walls need windows and doors. They don't need to come down. Okay. It does need to make sense, but you also have to open up to let them in, right? We can think of your heart as like a little house inside of you. Okay. If you think of it like a little house instead of like a tower that has all of these big walls on it, you've got doors, you've got windows, you've got fences. Those are your boundaries. Okay. So the more that you envision your heart space, even if you were to tap in right now and picture in your head what that looks like, you'll get a picture of something. It might be a torn down shack, it might be a tower, it might be a wall, it might be whatever. But this is a trick you can do to kind of tap into that energy and see where you're at. Ideally, you want to see a nice house, windows, doors, a nice little fence, and a yard. That means that the internal vision is ready. If you don't see that, or you see a different version of that, that shows you what you need to work on. Does that make sense?
Right. Yes. I mean, if you see a huge tower
Yeah.
surrounded by guards on all sides and a moat, and the nearest person is, miles away, that's usually not a good sign.
Right, right. But if you have like a nice little lush garden, the windows and doors are open, and that's your vision, guess what? You're ready for connection. It's a welcoming space. If you don't, you still gonna get connection, but they're gonna have to break down the walls. Are you gonna have to like reestablish your boundaries and rebuild? And some people come into your life to help you grow in that way, to tap into those things. So it's really, really important that you don't discard any connections that are coming in and being like, no, no, but to observe, how are they showing up? What are the qualities that I do like? Because if you focus on everything that you don't like, they magnify, amplify, and come again, right? But
Yeah.
think about it. You're doing the same thing if you do the positive. I love this about this person. They may not be in alignment, but thank you for showing me that aspect, because that aspect is something I really want in that next person. It's a whole different shift, right? Whereas like, you're not in alignment. I don't like the way you look. I don't like the way you party. I don't like the way that you don't commit to me. I don't like the way that you communicate. That's a lot of energy on things that you don't want. That's going, as you send it back, it's going to come back to you times 3. Why? Notice it, thank it, and then reframe it. I'm accepting good communication. If you don't want that, go away. That's where you can use that very logical skill, right? You don't have what I want, go away. Okay. But in recognizing that person, you have to turn on the other side and go, I want somebody that can communicate with me. Communication is huge. It has to be logical communication. They have to be authentic in their communication. They have to be consistent in their communication. All of those things, when you send them out, they come back to you times 3, right? So no matter what you're sending out, it's all coming back to you. And if you can take control of what you're sending out, then you can magnify whatever you want, right? And that's in career, that's in love and partnership, that's in anything, right? Most people, whenever they get in a partnership, they go, oh, I don't like this about you. It gets worse.
Yeah.
When instead of appreciating what they do like about the person, because it's about the totality of the person, learning to move through the things that you don't necessarily care about, helping them heal, helping yourself heal, because you're triggered because it's something within you, right? Your triggers are your responsibility, not theirs. So that in relationship, you have to look at there's growth, there's understanding, and there's connection. And when you don't have trust, you can't have respect. When you don't have respect, you can't have love. But if you don't have heart and you only have thought, you don't have connection. You have a lot of energetic boo-boo.
That makes sense.
But it's a hard shift for a Gemini to drop from here to here. It's a practice. It's not something that's going to come very naturally. It is something that's going to take you a little bit of time to understand. But I believe, and I truly feel, that once you understand the connections, it's instant. It's instant. But look at it on a quantum level. Okay. So things that are in quantum physics and the way that things are interconnected, right? If, for example, money is going well, love and relationship kind of goes on the back burner. Okay.
Yes.
When money starts to go down a little bit, there's a couple of reasons why that might be. One, you're connected to people that are not good for you. They're draining your resources, they're draining your energy. The second thing is it's to remind you to go back into your relationships and refill your cup with the emotional side, right? And the spiritual side and the physical side, not just that like, oh, I need to get work done. So it's a balancing act that you have to do. And I think it'll be easy for you to figure it out because you're like, oh, look, there's my sign. Oh, look, there's my sign. And you can be very, very specific with spirit on what your signs are. For example, if I'm in alignment, show me a red string. Okay. Next thing you know, you're out somewhere and you're like, boom, there's a red string. I know I'm in the right space at the right time. It gives you confirmation. It gives you understanding. So keep in mind, you are the master of your universe. It doesn't happen to you. You're happening it to it. And what you put out, you're also receiving. And that's where the conscious awareness needs to come in of understanding what your role is. You're at the driver's seat. What do you want?
I would agree with all that. I think what you put out does come back to you. I would agree in
Mhm.
every aspect of life.
And because you are a big white light and because you have a very good heart, you're also going to get scum. Okay.
Yes.
And learning discernment on what's in alignment and what's not is so, so valuable and important, right? Because think about like this. When was the last time you got butterflies? That like,
Right.
ooh, oh my goodness.
I mean, forever,
Okay.
forever and ever.
Butterflies are a red flag. Red flag. Blaring red flag. Think about roller coaster energy, big ups and downs and turns and twists and all that kind of stuff, right? It's exciting, it's fun. Also emotionally draining as all get out, right? Because you don't know what's coming. It's very unexpected. Okay. Another person comes in and gives you very stable vibes. You look right past them. Not even giving them the light of day because they're under the radar. You're looking at the big red flag because it's fun and it's exciting. Just get away from this. That
Yeah,
stable energy is exactly what you need. So when they come in and you go, I don't know, give them a chance. Give
that's
them an
what I say.
opportunity.
I mean, I do avoid red flags. Like I really don't get butterflies.
Good.
I don't.
But recognize, and this is for everybody out there, that butterflies are not always a good sign. It's actually a big like caution, pay attention. There's something very important that you need to pay attention to, the way that they deal with conflict, the way that they communicate, their consistency. There's something there that you need to look at. And most people ignore it because they're in that like rush of like, oh, I just love them to pieces and this, that, and the other. That's your sign to step back. And it's good that you don't normally get those big butterflies or whatever, but a lot of times you do
I
just kind of
did
slip
when I was
over.
young. I mean, I
Yeah.
did. And then you just figure out, right? Like I just kind of realized that that wasn't good. Yeah.
Right. Right. But now you're right in that middle ground of like, I see the really big red flags and I'm not messing with those, but I'm not messing with the rocks either. So I'm like right in this middle ground of dealing with people that aren't giving me everything that I need. They're giving me a little bit of something, but they aren't hitting all the check marks.
Yeah.
So my uh, advice in this is to write down qualities and things that you absolutely love in partnership. Okay. Just list them. Be very analytical about what that looks like for you, you know? And then on another sheet of paper, write down all the things that you don't like, right? You know what they are. You'd be able to list them off like no problem. Then I want you to release with unconditional love all of those negative aspects of what you've experienced. And then go back to your list of all the things that you do want and put those in, right? So it's like you leave those out, you pull these others in, put them in a nice little package, put them in that heart space and let it do its work. Okay. Because like I get partnership for you. I get very strong, very good partnership that's very cooperative. And it's going to take some growing and some understanding to be able to get there, but also accepting, because there's a part of you that's like, I don't want to be vulnerable. So it's time to get a little vulnerable, start with self. Okay. And starting with self means like, I'm identifying what I like in myself. I'm identifying what I like in other people. I'm being grateful for the things that I did see that I don't like that are no longer in alignment, but I'm not letting those define where my thoughts are, right? Because keep in mind, things show up in patterns and cycles so that you can identify them, redefine them, and move on, not to go back into the cycle. But, you know, learning for some people takes a couple times.
It takes a couple of times. I would agree. I would agree with that.
Yeah, but you know, it's okay. It's okay. We get there, you know. All of the cards wanted to fly onto the floor, so I feel like that was my sign that you need a few more. So we're just gonna go for it since we have the time.
Okay, let's do it.
Yeah, I don't know why they want it to them. They literally landed on the floor. They're like, no, we're not done. We're not done. Great. What do you want to say? All right, we got new beginning, take chances, communication, 10 of Pentacles energy, and a father figure. Father figure. Somebody. Oh, okay. Who is he? He's already passed on. He's somebody that either very wealthy or very stern and stable energy. And he is right here.
Stern and stable, yes.
Stern, stable father figure, very strategic, very, very much a loving energy, but not in a like, let me give you all the love, but like, let me guide you, let me show you, let me give you a pathway.
Yes.
They're saying go a different pathway. like they gave you tools to be able to have and do anything that you want. And you get to pick your pathway. And your pathway is going to be astronomically successful, abundant, loving, all of the things. All of the things. And they're literally like, they're right here. And they just want to see you connect here. That this has been like the theme of today. And this past loved one, they feel older when they passed.
Yeah.
They feel like they may not have always been emotionally available, but loved you dearly, right? And so they did not communicate well.
That all makes sense.
They are sorry that they did not give you that tool.
Well, they gave me other tools.
They did, but that one they have a hard time with.
Well, they shouldn't.
I know, we know, you know, and that was part of their lesson here, right? Is to experience not being able to fully communicate, you know, and what that difference would be. So now that soul, that spirit has learned that lesson, that communication is absolutely imperative when it comes to letting people know you love them and respect their pathway and don't necessarily want you to go down their pathway. It's just all that they knew.
That makes sense. But sometimes you realize how they feel, even though they're not expressive. So
absolutely, absolutely. But they didn't know if you knew in those aspects and wanted to affirm that they know that they were not connecting in ways that could have been more beneficial. And they're ready to let those things go. So if you happen to, and I get like stopping tears, and then like my heart kind of wants to just like halfway open up. So there's some resistance to really tapping into those feelings, because logically you understand that that's what happened. But there's a version, a small version of you that really needed that verbal confirmation that your pathway was okay.
That makes a lot of sense. And I'm fine. So if they're here, they can see that I'm fine.
They can totally see it. They see the smile on your face. They see the love in your heart. They see the spark in your eye, and they're saying, keep going and tap into that really, really abundant energy. And the more that you tap into that emotion, the more the money comes too.
We like the money.
We like the money. We like all of the money.
We like all of the money, let me tell you.
Yay. So did you have any other specific questions or anything that you wanted to tap in on?
No, that was unexpected at the end. And a lot of the things you said resonated with me, even like the relocation, like I split my time between 3 different homes. So
Mhm.
I am always open. Like I can meet someone anywhere. It doesn't like that's
Right.
just my lifestyle. Like I work in this computer, so I could be
Mhm.
anywhere in the world, always having a base where I have a base. But like that type of thing is like, it's not like, oh, geographically you need. So that kind of resonated right at the beginning as well. So
Super.
a lot of what you said has resonated with me. So
Thank you.
this was a great reading. I would love, I mean, we have to keep in touch. Like I would love, and the thing is, I
Absolutely.
just want to say too, to shout out, you guys are having your 35th anniversary at Psychic
Mhm.
Source. So now with my code Velvet, which everyone should do this. First of all, it's not just like a sales pitch, but with my code Velvet, you now get 35 minutes for $20, which to me is like,
That's
I have
insane.
to, and I'm not
Great.
just saying this, like everyone, I mean, I think I have a base of people that have been listening to me for 5 years now. So they know me. And I think they can tell what an authentic reading this was because they know that I'm closed off and I'm all about money and I make no effort at love and I'm very practical when it comes to dating. So I feel like people that have been listening to me could tell that this was a very authentic reading because all of
You.
that resonates. And $20, guys, I mean, I've already started giving it out and telling people that they need to do this for 2 weeks now because it's just, it's a great thing.
It can
So,
be life changing. It really, really
yeah,
can, because if you know what the energy is that you're dealing with, you know how to move through it. You're
right.
able to kind of have a deeper understanding. So it's life changing.
It's
And it
life
was such a
changing.
pleasure.
And the fact that someone came through at the end, I know just who that was. And that all made sense immensely too. So I appreciate your time, Psychic Pandora from the Psychic Source. Thank you for this reading. I could talk to you all day. So thank you.
Thank
I
you so
really appreciate
much.
this. Keep in touch.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you,
Take
David.
care. Bye bye.
Bye.